And we're live. Welcome everyone to another episode of Fixture Focus. I'm your host, Justin Wasik, based out of Chicago. Today I am joined by my guest, Aviva from Atlanta. And she is one of the leaders of Atlanta Spurs and also one of the podcast hosts of the Cheese Room podcast. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
We'll dive into that a bit later. Before we do, I just want to let everyone know that a lot of American Hammers TV merch has been uploaded to the online store, and you can find that at ahtv.threadless.com. The link is also in the description if you're interested in buying a holiday gift for a friend or for yourself. Always good to treat yourself as well. So Aviva, thank you for joining me. Appreciate
My pleasure.
Yeah, as I was saying a little bit before we went live, I reached out to, probably 20 to 30 different Twitter accounts, a lot of different city accounts, Atlanta, Brooklyn, etc. We got a couple, we're not going to go on a West Ham show type of response. So really appreciate you being civil and willing to join us. I do appreciate it. I always start off by asking, first of all, where are you from originally? Are you from Atlanta or somewhere else?
So funny story. I'm currently not in Atlanta. I'm in Boston right now.
Oh, okay.
So
Great city.
I actually was born and raised in the suburbs of Boston, and then we moved down to Atlanta about 12 years ago. And I just moved back up here in August for graduate school, but I'm still the social media director for Atlanta Spurs.
Gotcha. Okay. So you lived in Atlanta for a while, started that up, and then moved back to Boston. Yeah, my brother lives in Boston. I visit him every year. I love that city. It's great. He lives in Cambridge.
I'm in Cambridge right now.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cool. I couldn't tell you where in Cambridge. I'm not good with geography, but great town. A lot of crazy streets. It's hard to drive there.
Yeah, a lot of one-way streets. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like old cow paths from like the 1600s. Right?
I'm living in one right now.
That's cool. Great city. Well, joining us from Boston. So obviously not from London. So I'm obviously very interested in hearing about your story about how you became a Spurs fan.
Well, I am a very proud fourth-generation Spurs supporter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My father is from Northwest London, from Hampstead, and
gotcha.
His father was also born there. And my great-grandfather, who immigrated to England from Eastern Europe, had a furniture factory in Northumberland Park, which is not very far, like a few blocks away from where the stadium is. And he had a furniture factory, and he used to walk down there in the 1910s. And then his son, my grandfather, used to bike there, and then my dad used to drive there, and now I have to take a flight to get there.
You guys just keep on getting farther and farther away.
My cousin, one of my cousins in England, he's the host of the Spurs Show, which is the longest-running, most listened-to Spurs podcast in the world. Wow. So everyone in the family is pretty.
What's the name of that one?
The Spurs Show.
It's called the Spurs Show.
Yeah, gotcha. They've been up since 2007.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. So you actually have family there. You're like super connected, like definitely more well connected than the average American fan. I've interviewed like expats that now live in North America. So the connection is obvious. But most of the time it's just an American or a Canadian that has found a way to support their team. You're actually the first one that actually is American, but has such like essentially familial tie. That's cool. Yeah. I wish I could go back in time to like, those 1910s, 1920s, 30s days where I just felt like, I don't know, that'd be so cool to just walk down to for me, not walk down to White Hart Lane, but walk down to Upton Park. I got a taste of that in the last season that they were there. I was lucky enough to go to a match and sort of experience the ambiance. I'm assuming that was the case around White Hart Lane too, just sort of like a great atmosphere, a lot of like shops, not shops, but maybe like food stops around it and pubs as well. What was the atmosphere like at the Old Lane?
So I only went to the old White Hart Lane once, and it was very, like you. I went the last season. My older brother, who's also a massive fan, had been before me, and he actually also went to see Spurs play at Upton Park.
Oh, cool! Wow.
Yeah. So basically, when I went to Spurs, they had started construction already. So one corner of the stadium was gone. But basically, the stadium is on Tottenham High Street, which is a very working class. Now it's very much diverse in terms of ethnicity. Back in when my father was growing up in the 50s, it was just all white bread. A lot of very famous and well-known like pubs are there, and chip shops. And with the new stadium that's been built, they've really been trying to revive the community using the local schools, providing jobs. That's really been one of their missions, because ever since then, the local area hasn't really been really what it used to be.
Right. How have they been doing with all of those community initiatives? Have they sort of been keeping their word or not?
Yeah,
really?
they have.
Okay.
There's so many local schools that are just steps away from the stadium. And a lot of the players do a lot of work with the students, and they do community outreach, and they do school visits. I just saw a video of our left back, Ben Davies, like helping some students prep for exams. And then they kind of instill that into their supporters clubs. So a lot of us, we do our own charity work. Atlanta Spurs does an annual Habitat for Humanity build. We do raffles, holiday raffles, and we just unlike most supporters clubs, Atlanta's is unique in that we don't have a membership fee. We don't charge membership, because we want people to feel that they can join us regardless of money. So all of our income that we get is from merchandise sales. And we use that for, serving our members as well as donating to charities.
Yeah, that is interesting that a lot of the bigger clubs do have membership fees. It's something that West Ham supporters groups, at least to my knowledge, there aren't any that do. There is merch that you can buy and things like that, but no membership. I think it's also something that if you ask, 10 West Ham fans, I'm assuming 9 would say that they like it that way, but it is interesting how you guys can sort of use that money for good. And yeah, you mentioned the stadium and the neighborhood that it's in. It's like, it sort of sticks out, not like a sore thumb, because it actually is a beautiful stadium, but like you just have all of these like old school English houses all lined up, and then boom, this just like thing sticks up. It's wild.
I was there last December. I was there, and it was basically almost done. It was basically done. And I got to visit the Spurs shop, but yeah, there's at one point when you're walking from the tube station, the tube stop, and there's one point when you're walking around the corner, it's just like hovel, trash can, and then you just see like this giant like spaceship looking structure. And it has such an impact just because of like the distinction that's made between the surrounding area and then this amazing stadium. So yeah, I'm very proud, and I got to see a game when we were at Wembley, 2 games when we were at Wembley. And I'm going in January to go to the new stadium. So
nice. Now who are you going to see play?
I get to see Spurs play Liverpool at home.
Ooh.
And depending if we draw at home in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, I might be able to see that one as well.
Cool. That's awesome. So Aviva, I like to sprinkle in some stats. I like to sprinkle in some like the club that we're about to face, stats of them, stats of us, and then also some fixture stats. So I'll start off with some Spurs stats here. Tottenham have only won 6 of their past 24 fixtures and are winless in 5. Spurs are without a victory in 12 away league games dating back to January, and have gone 13 away matches without a clean sheet. But again, and I mentioned this before we started, one of the 3 main rules of playing West Ham, if you haven't won in a while, you want to play West Ham. I just feel like this is ripe for a Spurs away win. And then you guys have 14 points after 12 matches, which is 7 fewer than in any other season since Pochettino has been your manager. Let's talk about that. I think it's the biggest news. I think it's the biggest news in the world of soccer.
Yeah.
First of all, what did you think about the sacking? What did you think about the hire?
Well, we all knew it was inevitable at some point. We just didn't know it was going to be as sudden as it was, because it was literally like the day before it happened, it was like really strong rumors online that this was happening. And then by the time you went to bed, you knew it was going to happen. You were just waiting for the announcement. So we kind of had time to prep for the official announcement, and then it happened. And it was more, for the first like 24 hours, it was more of like mourning the fact that Potches was gone and that it was a sacking than it was like being upset that it was Mourinho that we got. We're not upset that we got Mourinho. If anything, someone on Twitter had a great quote, like, because the Spurs motto is to dare is to do. So someone wrote that Poch taught us to dare, and now Mourinho is going to teach us to do. Okay. So when you have a manager like that who did so much for us for 5 years, who got to the Champions League final without spending money, who really showed people that you can achieve things and achieve success without necessarily having trophies in a way, to see that go and to see him sacked. He didn't want to leave. That was his thing. So
you think he wanted to stay until the end of the season?
Oh no, he did. He had a meeting with Levy, and he said he didn't want to go. And there was a problem, because if he had resigned, then he would have had to have had a backup plan, and it would have made him less attractive to other teams because he didn't really finish it out. So in this case, we didn't want to see him sacked, and we're very grateful for him. And so far in the 24, 48 hours we've had of Jose and what he's been saying in interviews and press conferences and videos of the training sessions, we're seeing things that we like, and we're starting to think positively. And if anything, we're so grateful for Poch for all that he's done, but it's time to move forward.
Yeah. On the Poch firing, or Poch firing, I thought when I started hearing the rumors, I thought the timing was odd. You had the whole international break. You didn't sack him like right after the last game. The international break essentially came and went, and you're a few days away from playing your next match, and you make a firing. I thought the timing was weird, and when it happened, I said they must have a replacement.
Oh no,
they must have a replacement.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned, and maybe I misunderstood you. I obviously don't follow Spurs, so I wasn't following the rumors, but you said that the rumor, at least my understanding was that you said the rumor of Mourinho potentially replacing him had been around for a bit.
Yeah, ever since like our form was going down, and then there was like very small whispers of like, could we see Poch leave at some point? It wasn't even like an inevitable thing. We're just like, it might happen if we keep losing. It was basically the running list was Nagelsmann, Ancelotti, I believe Eddie Howe, and Mourinho. That was like the running list. And The problem was you were only going to get Howe or Nagelsmann if you waited until the end of the season.
Right.
So that kind of canceled those out. Ancelotti is already at Napoli, so everyone's like, it has to be Mourinho. The question is that would he come to Spurs, and would we accept him, because he was a Chelsea boss. But but he's been saying all the right things, and he's a tactician, and he knows how to win games. He said to the Spurs players at their training, "If you back me, I'll help you win trophies. We're going to win trophies." Yeah. So every place that he's ever coached, he's won a trophy in his first season. So
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I mean, he's a winner. Like you said, he's the to-do part, right? Like and I actually thought like, okay, what if, I know there's rumors about Poch going to Bayern. I would love to see him stay in the Premier League, because as much as I dislike Spurs, I actually always admired Poch, especially with the lack of resources that he was given and the heights that he took your club. I was thinking, well, wouldn't it be cool if he like went to United, right? Like a switcheroo. You don't think he would?
No, he's said it before in times that he would never go to another English club, because when you're out, it's like saying, would Arsene Wenger ever gone to another club besides Arsenal? Would Ferguson ever gone to another club besides Man United? It was at that point where Poch was too ingrained in the club to make that switch easily. Mourinho never really stuck like that at Chelsea. It was 3 years. He won a lot of stuff, but I kept saying I could see Poch probably go to like Real Madrid. He would never go to Barcelona, obviously, because he's an Espanyol guy. So that's blasphemy. but maybe definitely Italy, Spain. I'd love to see him win trophies somewhere. He really deserves it.
I do have to say, I think that's a bold comparison to compare Poch to Arsene Wenger and Sir Alex. I understand your point.
Talking about loyalty here. We're not talking about like tenure or achievements. I'm talking about loyalty here. Poch, it got to the point where, you know, Poch is not going to, yes, he did coach Southampton before us, but he wasn't there long enough to really become anything in their club other than a one-time manager. What he's done for us, he took us on an amazing run away from home. We were playing at Wembley for a year, and then to spend no money and go to a Champions League final, you know, what
Incredible.
he is. Yeah. So it's not that he's at the same level of achievement as those two managers, but in what he means to Spurs and how ingrained he is, I would believe he would not go to another team. I mean, maybe United, but I don't feel like he would ever go to another London team for sure.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, would never go to another London team. When I was thinking how cool it would be for him to go to United, I was thinking it was sort of like United need a guy like Poch to sort of build something over time, which is what he did at Spurs, and Spurs now need a man like Jose, like again, going back to your quote, the doer, right? So would you say the majority of Spurs fans dislike the hire or like the hire of Jose?
Look, I can't speak for the majority of Spurs fans.
Well, what are they like? What are you hearing on?
What I'm hearing is that most people have got over the mourning of Poch being gone, and like I said, the things we've been hearing in the last 24, 48 hours that we've been seeing are starting to make us feel a bit more optimistic and be like, you know what? We're grateful for what Poch did. He's always welcome back. Jose's even said that. It's time to move forward and only go up from here. And there's been also a lot of rumors that the fact that we brought in someone like Jose, who's a world-class manager, he'll get paid like twice as much as Poch, and we're in a world-class stadium with a world-class training facility, are kind of supporting rumors that Levy and his board are thinking about selling the club to maybe some really profitable people out east. Because with a coach like Mourinho and a stadium like we have, the facilities that we have, they bought us for about a few hundred, like 100 or something million back in 2001, and we're worth over like $1 billion now.
Oh, so, yeah, 3 times as much as that for sure.
So it definitely makes us more attractive in the eyes of, I would hope not, potential buyers.
I've always said winning cures all. For those that are not behind Mourinho, you know, for those Spurs fans that are not behind him, if y'all start winning again and winning trophies, it'll all be forgotten. His Chelsea past will be forgotten. Maybe there'll be a very, very minute minority that'll still hate him. I'm sure there'll be a few here and there, but I think winning cures all. We'll move on from this topic. Just one last question. Simple yes or no. Is Pochettino the best manager in Spurs history?
No. I mean, there's debates. Is he the best manager in Premier League history? Spurs Premier League history? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. If you're talking about overall, Bill Nicholson. I mean, Bill Nick. I don't know if you're familiar with who Bill Nick is.
Yeah, I've heard of Nicholson.
Winner of the double team. So he's up there with. There's a great edited photo of them shaking hands, but definitely the best manager we've had in the Premier League era. Did he win the double in 61? Yeah, that was the double winning team.
Gotcha.
And he was there for a while. Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about the actual Spurs team now. I'm assuming your expectations before the season were similar to probably your expectations before the last couple of seasons. A top 4 finish, hell, maybe even give Liverpool and City a run for their money. Obviously, it has not gone according to plan. Where do you think it's gone wrong?
Honestly, when we lost the Champions League final, and we didn't know how that would affect the players. It takes a lot out of you. And I interviewed a former Spurs left back, Eric Edmond, who scored an amazing goal against Liverpool, that people should go and check out. And he said that when you come so close to glory, you don't get it, you kind of lose the game. And a lot of our players we're getting older, and there's contract rebels and contract anomalies, and we're not sure if they're happy at the club, and people are dropping off in form. So a lot of stuff happened after this supposedly amazing day. So when we started not really playing that well, it kind of made me think about that. Like, is this an effect of coming so close and then getting nothing?
Yeah.
Because you would think we can only go up from here. We got to the Champions League final next year, we'll win it. But something was going on, and it was weird to see. And people were just saying this is indicative of just another phase of this whole rebuilding process. But then people started to realize maybe it's the beginning of a new rebuilding process, and one that does not involve Pochettino. So I was expecting us, of course, to start as we always do, and most importantly, win the games that we should win on paper. Brighton should have been won on paper. Sheffield United should have been won on paper. Watford should have been won on paper. We've been giving up goals and leads too easily, and too many early goals, and it's not like us. And
you've only kept one clean sheet, which is a joint low with Norwich.
And like 2-3 seasons ago, we had the best defensive record in the league.
Yeah.
So questions were starting to be asked, and whispers started to happen. And the question was Poch losing the dressing room? And it's weird. We don't know what's going on. But hopefully with a new manager, we'll see some improved desire and belief and determination from some players that we feel have been underperforming. Christian Eriksen in particular.
Yeah, what's been going on with him? I wanted to ask you about, because when I think Spurs underachievement this year, the first person that comes to mind is Christian Eriksen.
Christian Eriksen is a playmaker, and when he's on it on his day, he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's weird. Again, he's one of those other players that, and I can always tell how old he's getting by how much his hairline is receding.
Isn't he only like 24 or 5 though?
No, he's like 20. All the players are around my age. I think Harry Kane's like 3 months younger than me. I'm 26. Okay. But they're all up there in like their mid to late 20s. Okay. But Eriksen just wasn't playing well. His passing was atrocious. He wasn't beating the first man on set pieces. And we started thinking, what's going on? And then when you didn't play him, we felt like then we needed him. And then when you did bring him on, it didn't really do anything. You'd see sometimes little glimmers of the old Eriksen, but the main thing is that he didn't sign a new contract. And yet, now that Jose is manager, all three of the contract rebels, meaning Jan, Toby, and Eriksen, are rumored to be willing to sign new contracts now that he's manager, which is if they do, it's such a blow to Pochettino that they would only sign a new contract under him. It's like, have they been holding out performance-wise until he was gone? Which I really hope is not the case. I would really hope I really hope that's not the case. But it might be time to get new blood in. We're really hoping that Daniel Levy gives Jose the money, because he has spent the most money, Jose, than any other manager in world football history, over 1.6 billion.
And we all know how much he likes his money.
But we already know everyone has the same shopping list for January. We all want Dybala. The supposed shopping list is Nathan Ake from Bournemouth, Dybala, and Bruno Fernandes. So, but knowing there's also no rumors that he's going to be bringing Zlatan on a free transfer. It's a lot of weird stuff going on. Yeah.
I love Zlatan. No.
But Zlatan doesn't love you.
Oh. No, he doesn't care.
No, there's only room for one special one in the team, and it's going to be Mourinho.
Although Zlatan has gone on record saying how much he loves playing for Jose. He loves that man. So obviously a lot of underachievement. Let's focus on the positives, if any. Like, who has been performing well? Who where have the bright spots been so far?
The bright spot has been coming from the Son Heung-min. Okay. He's the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. That guy is just every Spurs fan, you ask any Spurs fan, they're going to say that they love Sonny. He's such a positive personality on the pitch. Even when he had that terrible event happen with him and Everton and the red card was rescinded, the next game he came back and he scored a goal after having such a terrible week. And he fights for balls. That goal he scored against Chelsea that one time when he just it's hard not to love him. He's always up for it. I would say I've been liking Sanchez recently. Sanchez has been doing pretty good. Danny Rose has been a bit iffy, obviously. Harry Kane has not really been putting balls in, but the question can be asked, is that because he's just not getting the delivery from the midfield? So, but I really think that Jose is going to get the best out of some players, especially Dele Alli, Eric Dyer. I think he's really going to get the most out of players who have really been underperforming.
How many goals does Kane have this year? Do you know?
I think he has 5 or 6. I think 5. Okay. But he's very capable of scoring a hat trick or more. Can I make a comment about your strikers though?
Yeah, we're about to. Before you do, we're about to get into West Ham. So some stats. So actually, November has proven to be quite. The month of November has proven to be quite a difficult month for West Ham over the last 6 or 7 years. In fact, in our past 26 league matches played in November, we've lost half of them. We've drawn 10, and we've only won 3. We've only won 3 out of those 26. I thought that was interesting. So far this season, no club has conceded more second half home goals than West Ham's 8. So not even just overall in the second half, but at home, which is very worrying to me. That's equal with Norwich, who in my opinion are the worst team in the league. And West Ham's favorite player recently, Roberto, our goalkeeper currently, has conceded 12 goals in 507 Premier League minutes, which is a goal
well done
every 42 minutes.
Well done.
Aviva, you said before we started, you do a preview show on the Cheese Room, so I think you have a bit of an idea of our squad. What did you want to start with?
This is gonna be fun. Yes, we might be like 2 spots ahead of you, but let's talk about your striker history. Can we just do that, West Ham fans? Since you were bought in 2010 by Golden Sullivan.
You're giving these stats. All right. We've heard them. But you go ahead.
It gets better. I know you know. So tell me. So how many strikers have you had since then? Can you tell me? Can you
I don't know the exact number. Let me guess. At least 40.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah.
You got our Spurs players Mito and Keane, Andy Carroll, Benny McCarthy, Demba Ba, John Terry. The list goes on. And in that time, you have scored 203 goals in 957 combined games in all competitions. To put that into perspective, Harry Kane is only 23 goals behind you on 180 in 318 games. So that's 639 games fewer for one person than 45 strikers combined. And he was 16 years old when the team was bought. So just to let you know, that's about by comparison, I could compare Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi's numbers, but that would be too embarrassing.
Yeah,
but
I think it'd be embarrassing for everyone. I mean,
Troy Deeney and Glenn Murray have more goals combined than all 45 of those strikers.
Yeah, but they played some years in the championship too. Let's. I mean, I guess we did.
So did
too,
you?
Right? We played 2 years in the championship in that time, so I take it back. Listen, I'm not going to hide behind the keyboard here. And,
no, you shouldn't. I mean, you got a young prospect now. I mean, 45 million is like the rate now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, to your point, like, yes, obviously the striker situation at West Ham has been, I mean, poor would be an overstatement or an understatement. It's a big reason why West Ham fans were clamoring and begging David Gold and David Sullivan to get a director of football. Because essentially David Sullivan had been acting in that role since he bought the team up until last season. And yes, now Sebastian Haller, our newest striker signing, We were going to sign a player named Maxi Gomez, who eventually went to Valencia.
I know Maxi Gomez. He was at Celta, I think.
He's Celta. Yep, exactly. He was the #1 target for. It was been going on for a year. That's Manuel Pellegrini's guy. And I'm all about in Manuel we trust, at least at that point. But at the beginning of last summer, I did stumble upon this guy called Sebastian Haller. And from that point on, I was always pro Haller. I said, you know what, listen, if we get Maxi Gomez, I'm obviously going to get behind him. I'm obviously going to root for him to do well, of course. But I personally think Sebastian Haller will be better. And listen, he hasn't had an awful season, in my opinion. The issue with our striker this season, and I think looking back, if you look back in that time period to 2010, an issue with a majority of our strikers, I'm not saying this is the only issue, is that I don't believe our strikers have been played to their strengths. For example, Sebastian Haller had, I forgot the numbers off the top of my head, double-digit goals and assists last year with Eintracht Frankfurt. And he played with Jovic and forgot the other dude. Essentially a front three, but it was sort of a front two with Haller sort of playing, not in a number 10 role, but
I know what you mean. It's a 4-3-3, but when he drops back as a center forward, and the other ones are like left and right.
And he holds up the ball, and then he dishes. Hence, he has so many assists. Hence, he holds up the ball so well. Big physical guy, 6'3" or 4. I thought he'd fit perfectly in the Premier League, and I think he has the physical build for it. The point is he's up top now alone. Mm-hmm. Pellegrini has refused to move to a 2-striker system, mainly because I think he doesn't trust our second striker, and we only have 2.
Who's your other striker again?
Albion Ajeti, 23-year-old.
8 million. You got him for 8 million from Basel.
Correct. He hasn't impressed, although I don't think he's been given a couple chances in the League Cup, but none in the Premier League. I don't know. Maybe he's had a couple sub appearances. I can't quite remember. But my point is, I personally believe this year it's because we're not playing to his strengths this year. That's sort of why I think he still has 4 goals, which, I mean, it's fine. He hasn't been awful.
Against Watford.
What's that?
Did 2 of those come against Watford?
Correct. Yeah, 2 of them did come against Watford.
It was Watford.
I mean, hey, the ball goes in the net. It counts. 1 came against Norwich too. He was injured for a game and then scored against what was his 4th goal? I can't quite remember where his last goal was. But he also has, I think, 3 or 4 assists as well. So, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that he's been playing extremely well. He hasn't. But I also don't think, again, we've been playing to his strengths, nor do I think the service for him has been, I mean, very subpar, but that's sort of been an issue for West Ham.
You guys lack. I've always thought West Ham lacked depth on their bench because look, Adrian goes to Liverpool, and Fabianski's injured, so you got Roberto. He's not doing the job. I mean, your left back. You got Fredericks and Cresswell. Are your starting fullback? I'm just like, but we had Fredericks. We got rid of him. Yes, he's good, but then Noble's getting up there in age. You have Declan Rice. I will give you that. But I just think you guys need to focus. In my opinion, I always thought you guys should focus on Yarmolenko, Lanzini, and Anderson. I've always loved Lanzini. I've always wanted Spurs to get Lanzini a few years ago.
You won't be seeing him this weekend, unfortunately.
I know. But if you can focus on Haller, Yarmolenko, and Anderson, I think that's your key.
Yeah, touching upon some players there. Ryan Fredericks actually has not been starting the last few games. Pablo Zabaleta has been starting for him, and it's been one of the things West Ham fans are really it's one of the bigger reasons why West Ham fans have been really questioning Manuel Pellegrini lately. His tactics. Why start Zabaleta? Fredericks was having a fine year. I mean, it was nothing special, but he was having a good season. He was staying injury-free. And Pellegrini started Zabaleta against some really speedy guys on the left, like St. Maximin versus Newcastle. You know, he's all over the place. Starting Zabaleta, St. Maximin should have had 4 goals. Really should have had 4 goals in that game. So that's one thing that I actually do think Fredericks has been good. I'm going to stick up for him. But Anderson, you mentioned, he's been one of the more frustrating players.
He shows up. Last season, I felt like he was showing up much more. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like he just hasn't really.
He's regressed.
He's definitely regressed. And that just might be confidence, because when a team isn't playing very well, then as players, if your manager is not managing the back room and is not instilling that belief into his players, then you're gonna feel terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of negativity around the club, and that certainly affects your performance. But you know, he was our record signing at the time, £42 million. You know, he's supposed to be a guy that in those negative times, in those dark times, steps up. That's why you pay the big money for him. That's why those players are looked at when things go wrong. Get us out of it. Make a play. Make a great pass. Score. Do something. And I think, I'm not saying Anderson is lazy by any means, but he's very lax with the ball offensively. You'll see there are many counterattacks where he slows things down, and like he just likes to play sort of like a cool, calm, suave type of football, which I don't think really lends itself to the Premier League. And for me personally, even when he started his West Ham career last year, he's always been very. I've always tried to find a word for it, and I struggle too. But he's always been very too chill, like too sort of mellow. And I don't know if there's an adjective for that, but in my opinion, I'm not saying you need to be the most emotional guy if that's not your personality. Yeah, rarely seen any sort of emotion, passion out of him. Again, I'm not saying he doesn't love the game, and I'm not saying that he doesn't bring effort. But, you know, when you pay £42 million for someone, you pay for more than just effort.
We paid $5 million for Dele Alli.
Did you really? From MK Dons?
Yes. Yeah. West Ham needs to stop buying players who are old and successful.
Well, I think we've ever since we got a director of football, I think the recruitment's been a bit better. I mean, Anderson was 24, Allaire was 25. Yarmolenko 27, Fredericks was 25, I believe. I think the recruitment's gotten better. I just think, honestly, I am starting to think Pellegrini, his seat is officially hot.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely hot. I'm not saying if we lose on Saturday that he's gone, but I've given him 5 games. And if I don't get a win in 5, and I'm a West Ham fan, that's a lot. If you ask a lot of people, I say probably a third of West Ham fans want him gone now. Another third probably giving him 2 or 3, maybe 4, and the rest maybe like around 4 or 5 for me, like I am. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely on the hot seat because we have the talent, and it's just not clicking. I mean, you knew when we lost 3-0 to Burnley, you knew we were going to lose. A physical, in-your-face team with a strong culture and identity like Burnley, under the leadership of Dyche, you just knew that was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Anyways, as a Spurs fan, are you when you look at West Ham, are you saying to yourself, "Ooh, we got to watch out there. Or we got to watch out for him"?
With the team that's fit now, here's the problem. I was doing some stats earlier, and Jose Mourinho has only lost twice against West Ham in his whole career. Once when he was with Man U, once when he was with Chelsea. And both those times were away at Chelsea. So that is not looking good for us. But considering that you guys got a lot of injuries, and we really don't. We have Lamela, but that's about it, who's out really injured. I'm not really that bothered for the main reason that we have Harry Kane and Son and Ali and Mora, and that's the thing, why you need to have depth, quality depth, and really
quality depth. Yeah.
And also, a lot of our squad is homegrown. We paid nothing. Harry Kane, we paid nothing for him. The whole point with Declan Rice is that he's young. Is West Ham should really be looking at their academy more to really get some prime talent.
You're not alone. You're not alone in saying that. Plenty of West Ham fans. There's a man named a kid named Nathan Holland, who, in my opinion, is definitely our best attacking academy player right now. That's currently like playing with the U23s mainly. Definitely think he should get a call up soon. We also Grady Diangana at West Brom, who is a loanee of ours, has been killing it in the championship. Again, that is the championship, but he's just been dominating and has really been a key part of West Ham. We're talking about maybe recalling him. He's a former academy guy. But I do agree with you. I think especially when things look so stale and flat and negative, you got to mix it up. Obviously, what you're doing is not working. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting the same results, or expecting different results, excuse me. Okay, so we're going to end with a score prediction. But before we do, I have 3 head-to-head match facts about the fixture between these 2 London clubs. So if West Ham win, that would secure their first ever pair of consecutive league wins against Spurs for the first time since 13-14. So it's been a while. Interestingly enough, the away side has won 5 of the last 6 meetings in all competitions in this fixture, including both league games last season. Did you watch that game last year? The game at Spurs Stadium? Yeah, it was a pretty good one, don't you think?
Yeah.
West Ham have scored 53 Premier League goals against Spurs, more than versus any other team. I don't really like that stat that much. I think that just means that West Ham and Spurs have at times been equally sort of not great. I don't know. I really don't think that stat says too much. Spurs, obviously, the better side, more talented. They have the new manager behind them. West Ham struggling in a negative state of form. Aviva, score prediction.
Well, considering the fact that the last time we conceded 3 or more goals at West Ham was a 3-4 win for us in 2007, I can't see us conceding that many goals.
No.
In fact, fun fact, a Canadian scored that winning goal, Paul Stalteri. Yeah, we got a patchy record, but I think our quality and also the thing that some people call the new manager high with some experience.
Is Mourinho going to be on the touchline?
Yeah, he'll be on the touchline. That's why he's been training with them the last 2 days.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but he's been saying in press conferences he's not used to taking a team to a game right after taking them on. He's only once ever taken a team over mid-season, and that was with Porto in 2001. So we don't know what he's going to do with formation, with tactics. It's anyone's guess. But I'm still going to go with a comfortable 3-0 victory to us, with Kane, Ali, and Son scoring.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. You cut off right when you were about to say the score. So could you repeat that, please?
3-0 to us. Kane, Ali, and Son scoring.
Yeah, not too far off from what I'm predicting. Yeah, I think that new manager high. Again, one of the 3 rules: if you haven't won in a while, play West Ham. You haven't won since January, or in the league since September. If you haven't had a guy score a lot of goals recently, play West Ham. Harry Kane scored 5 or 6, like you said, which isn't really that much for him. Probably going to score 1. And then if you have a new manager, play West Ham. I definitely think there will be a reaction. As much as those guys, I think, loved Poch as a man, I think it was obvious for some new blood in there to mix things up. So definitely think there'll be a new high. I hope to God that there's some change of formation or tactics or something, just a fight from us, because usually we're up for these London derbies. Usually West Ham play well against Tottenham, even if we're in a poor run of form. And if I see what I saw at Burnley, and what I saw in the previous matches before versus Spurs, I'm really going to start to be worried. That being said, that's exactly what I do think will happen. I don't think it'll be 3-0. I'm going back and forth between two scores here. I'm going to go 3-1, which isn't that much better, to be honest. I do expect a bit of a tight game in the first half. I do expect Tottenham to score in the first 15, 20 minutes, maybe a sunny goal. I do expect you guys to maybe get another goal in that first half. And then maybe we'll fight back. Maybe we'll get one back, and then we'll be pressing for that equalizer, and you guys will catch us on a counterattack and win 3-1. That's just my gut reaction. I don't see how West Ham get anything from this. Just
something like a true West Ham supporter.
I mean, also, I think a realist. If you look at us, it's so sad because we had a lot of high expectations this year. Unfortunately, haven't even come close to them. So I hope we're both wrong. I really do. I always say that. I've had to say that a lot in these fixture focus shows because a lot of people have been predicting their teams to win, as have I, as I've been predicting other teams to beat us. And unfortunately, I haven't been wrong recently, and I have a feeling that I'm going to continue to remain correct on Saturday. But Aviva, thanks so much for joining us or joining me. I do appreciate it. Again, appreciate the just the willingness to come on a West Ham show. Enjoy the Mourinho reign. I hope you don't enjoy it that much, or at least I hope you start enjoying it after Saturday.
Well, I say this with all respect. I really hope we burst your bubbles.
Oh, nice. I actually have not heard that one before.
Oh, no.
Surprisingly.
Theme for the picture for my podcast I just did.
Oh, really?
Mm.
All right. Well, we'll end it there. Aviva, thanks a lot. And come on, yours.